What is up, Low Voltage Nation? We've got Kyle Figueroa from Figueroa Electrical. He's not only an electrician, if you give him some low voltage cable, he will figure out a way to terminate it. So let's get after it. All right, we got Kyle Figueroa from Figueroa Electrical on the show today. He is in the field. He is, you guessed it, an electrician. And I actually reached out to him because it popped up after a comment was put on one of my videos to reach out to him. He's because I asked who should get on the show, and somebody mentioned Kyle, and so I reached out, and he agreed and was very gracious to come on and take some time out of his day in the field, especially. He's sitting in his truck right now, and I love talking to people when they're in the field. It's like it's so raw and just like you're just like out there getting after it, and you like take some time, on your lunch break or whatever, to come chat and hang out with me on Low Voltage Nation. And so yeah, Kyle, thank you so much for hopping on.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I appreciate you reaching out. I mean, this is the first for me, so it's definitely something that I'm very interested in.
Hey man, we're all learning together because I just started this a few months ago, and like we're just kind of, that's what the whole point of it is kind of grow and learn and build this community together. So yeah, again, thank you. And I'm gonna kick it over to you, Kyle, and I'm gonna ask you how'd you get started, man? Let's start like from day one when you started picking up a tool or something. So just give me a brief rundown of Kyle.
Yeah, brief rundown. I mean, like I guess I've always been mechanical as a kid. I was one of those kids that I was just always able to just take something apart, put it back together ever since I was little. And like my dad had to lock up all the tools because I was always getting into stuff. And then basically, I believe it or not, I actually went to school to become a mechanic. I was huge into cars growing up, like naturally as a lot of high school boys are. And one of the best advices I ever got was from my auto shop teacher, who was really more like a friend to me. And he said to me, he's like, hey, he was like, you love cars? He's like, yep. And don't do it for a living. He was like, there's just not enough money into it. He was like, you know what, man? He was like, you're mechanical. He's like, you go with your hands. You can do anything. And he was like, you can just kind of jump into anything and you'll be good at it. And I'll never forget one of my other buddies he was the other top kid in auto shop. He just said to me one day, he's like, hey, what are you going to do? I'm like, I have no idea. He's like, well, I'm going to go check out the school for electrical if you want to come. And the rest is history. That was it.
Yeah.
I basically just went along with my friend, got into the trades, and seriously, from day one of schooling, I fell in love with it. And then ever since then, I just always just kept on learning and just try my best to just know anything and everything about this trade.
Yeah. So you are in is that Massachusetts, Lynn, or where are you located?
Yeah, I originally grew up in Malden, Mass. And graduated from Malden High. So
I'm scrolling through your Instagram right now and just kind of checking out some of your pictures. There's one that I copied and pasted into the show notes, but you start off with it's too hard is never a valid excuse. # work hard, keep a positive attitude in all caps. And you can accomplish anything. I thought that was so cool, man. It looks like you do some pretty good work, and man, I love your vibe. And like I'm looking at a picture of you. I think it's you, and you're just smiling away there, man. So is that kind of how you roll in the field? Just like kind of having a good time, like laughing all day.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, like I definitely, because you know what it is that if you keep everyone happy, you keep everyone smiling, you keep morale up, and I mean everyone's gonna have a good time working, and that's just what it is. I mean, like there's just people that you work with, man. Like you're with these people more than you're with anybody in the rest of your life.
I know. Oh my god.
So it's insane. So it's awesome in that respect. And so like I just want to make sure everyone's having a good time because a happy worker is a good worker. Yeah. And it's definitely something that's fun. And the other thing is too, life's too short to be mad, man. I mean, it's just even when I approach problems and when things go sideways and things like that, you know what? But what's being mad gonna get you? What's that gonna accomplish? It's not gonna accomplish anything. It's gonna take away your energy and
exactly.
You just gotta let it roll off your back and then just take things as they come and just keep moving forward. That's it.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, we talked about in the pregame about the challenge and solution, and I loved your answer to that because you mentioned about the kids these days. There's not enough people that are going to fill these trade positions. Tell me about that,
Yeah.
and tell me like what you're doing around that subject. You mentioned you're doing some sort of like program around it. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, I tell you, it's something that I feel very passionate about, and it's not just the kids of this new generation that's coming up. They're not even most of the problem. I mean, a lot of the problem is that it begins at high school, and with kids in high school now these days, academics and going to college is just crammed down their throats, and I know that even for myself, which is the main reason why I didn't end up going to a trade school, because you're basically taught that in order to be a success in life, you have to go to college, get a college degree, get a job, make all the money. And the fact of the matter is that it's there's more options than that. I mean, coming into blue collar trades and learning a trade is, if not, you can be more successful than anybody who's gone to a 4-year college.
Yep.
So it's kind of like what it is that I advocate a lot for, like preaching preaching blue collar trades with the same enthusiasm as college is being preached to these kids. Mm-hmm. And also what I do a lot with, like, my page is basically help bridging the gap between kids who are in the trade, but they may not be getting a fair shake, because the biggest issue that's out there as well is how a lot of companies, it's all about just get it done. There's no educating anymore. I don't even like calling apprentices, or I don't even like calling it an apprenticeship anymore. I think it should be considered more of a mentorship. Mm-hmm. And that's how I've always treated a lot with my helpers growing up and things like that. The guys who I've had and who I've trained, I would be a mentor to them in more ways than just electrical. It's just, if you're an older guy, you kind of have to bestow that knowledge on them. And so I created this thing called TFI, which is called Trade Future Initiatives, and where I'm actually working in conjunction with a lot of tool manufacturers and even influencers, and where basically we're helping and creating scholarships for kids and help through public speaking, going into schools and basically educating kids and basically say, hey, you know what? You have more than one option here. There are other ways to be a success in life. Like, you can be your own boss and have no debt when you graduate school. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of just preach that. It's like, it's okay to work hard. It doesn't mean that you're dumb. It doesn't mean that oh, well, you couldn't cut it to go to college. Absolutely not. Some of the most brilliant people I know are trades, and more particularly in electrical. I mean, when you think about the engineering side and all the math and the science that goes into what we have to figure theory-wise when it comes to designing systems, whether it be a solar field or it be like arc ratings and things like that. There's so many different things in that come into consideration in our field, and all this while being code compliant with building with our own code and everything else like that. So I mean, we have to think of 100 different things just to do our one job, and it's a skill, and it's a talent, and it's, the problem is that these kids are not learning this, and a lot of schools who once had trade programs are getting rid of them, and basically just to make more room for more classrooms for kids to learn about liberal arts. And it's sad, man. It's sad. And that's the thing is, like I see kids who in their 18 years of life never picked up a screwdriver.
Yeah, there's
that. And it shows, and like they, and it's tough. I mean, because now it's things that you always have to work through, and it makes it harder for them in the end too, because there's a lot of kids that are left floundering before, either that they don't go to college and then they're in between odd jobs, or they do go to college and then guess what? You and the 1,000 other people went for the same job. So therefore, at that interview, there's going to be you and 1,000 other people at that interview. And so therefore, the likelihood of you getting a job versus, and you have 1,000 other applicants, is going to be much harder.
Yep.
So it's a saturated market, so much to say, and and then it leaves a lot of people. Now they have their school debts, and then they're still working a part-time job, or they're still working at doing retail and things like that. Or some of them basically be like, you know what, I'm just going to get into a blue-collar trade now.
Yeah. So
And
it's called Trade Future Initiative. Is that what it's called?
yes, so it's TFI. It kind of plays on the acronym of a lot of kids will use TFI like as in like thanks for the information.
Okay.
So it kind of plays
Interesting.
alongside
Yeah.
that as well.
Okay. Yeah.
In the world of LOLs and
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So,
really interesting because one of the reasons why I created Low Voltage Nation was to help people carve a fulfilling career path in technology and low voltage. And a lot of times, all you really need are just a pair of cutters, some crimps, and just the willingness to work hard to get on a ladder and do some grunt work to start off with. But then you can start building on top of that. You don't need an education necessarily. It's good to have the certifications here and there, but you can just hit the ground running pretty quickly and then build a pretty solid career path if you just put in the work. So that's my
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And another strategy that I started doing was getting on TikTok, and like I'm the guy that's asking kids like, "What are you going to do for a job?" Because there's, are you going to get into a trade? A lot of jobs going to be automated. What are you going to school for? So I'm kind of just like asking kids on TikTok, like, "What are you going to do?" So maybe that's where you need to spend some time and start pushing your initiative.
You know what I'm saying? Not for nothing, man. That's actually like I have 4 kids and all girls too, by the way. So
Yeah.
I know very much about the world of TikTok and
Yeah.
not for nothing, but kudos to you, and that's really brilliant, and that's the way and how you kind of have to really reach these kids. But at that point, like I said, it's like now the platform. It's now it's all about basically finding the right formula that will kind of grab them and engage them. That's really
Yeah.
the big thing, because kids' attention span for the most part is like, is this entertaining? And,
Yeah.
and if
Right.
it's not
Oh yeah.
entertaining, I'm going to keep on scrolling.
You got you got half a second to engage your
yeah,
audience.
exactly,
It's pretty bad now. Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
of that.
That's pretty cool, man. I want to keep in touch around that effort because we have a lot of alignment, and I want to continue the conversation, in the future, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely, man. I mean, like I said, I mean, there's a lot of I actually have a lot of people who are on this project as well.
Awesome.
I know Racketeers is involved, Greenlee Tools,
Cool.
and a few other tool manufacturers, and we're basically helping creating sponsorships for kids,
Cool.
scholarships, and basically giving kids a leg up. Giving them a head start getting into a trade.
Yep. Yeah. I'd like to do some stuff in the future and help out if I can.
Absolutely, man.
Cool.
More help the better.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, so the story we were talking about was what's behind the joist. So can you tell me? Can you elaborate upon what happened that day?
I'll never forget this, man. I was Jesus. I think I was like my 3rd year into my apprenticeship, and we're on a job site, and it was a house. It was a whole house remodel, and had a brand new Milwaukee whole hog corded, because cordless was not really out back then. And as a buddy of mine was using it, and I've always taught, if you're ever drilling out joists, you always double check what's the opposite side. So he's drilling up through a top plate, which is basically the top of the wall, because we had to bring some switches down for a switch bank. And I hear him drilling, and when you're in the trade for so long, you could tell what that auger's doing. If it's caught up on a nail, it just sounds different. If it's hitting metal, if it's hitting stone, if it's hitting brick, whatever, you know what it sounds like.
Yes.
So I'm around the corner, and I hear him, and he's fighting. What the hell? He's fighting it, and I hear it. He's like, man, we're just making that swirly noise, and I'm like, hey man, did you check? And as soon as I said that, water is flooding everywhere. He ends up drilling through the main of the household water main, and so it was a 3/4 inch cold water line drilled completely through it. Water is flying everywhere, and here he is, like Pied Piper, trying to stick his finger. He's like trying to stick his finger in it, trying to stop all this water from flooding this whole entire basement. And my first initial reaction is, I gotta save my drill, because I was like, and so I pick up my drill, I pull out the extension cords, and he starts. But mind you, the foreman that we had at the time, he was he was a mean bastard, and he was like, that was kid. If it couldn't have happened to the worst person, because that kid was like his whipping boy, and I'll never forget it. And he was so terrified, and so I ended up running underneath the stairs, and I ended up finding the water main, and I shut off the gate valve.
Yeah.
All the water's there, but I mean, there was probably like a good 2 inches worth of water.
Oh no!
And luckily, a lot of the walls were being demoed and everything else like that. It was more funny more than anything, but
okay,
it was definitely one of those things that, like, you always got to double check wherever you're drilling.
Whew. Yeah, I've heard those stories before. One of my coworkers did that, but it was like in a nice house. Or no, it was an apartment complex, and they did about $30,000 worth of damage. So, yep, you got to check. You got to figure out what's behind that joist or that wall. Or just be careful, y'all.
I actually had like one other story that it actually happened more recently, and I was on a job on Newbury Street in Boston, which Newbury Street is like the Rodeo Drive of Boston.
Okay.
Like all high end things like that. So we're working in this, we're working in like these new commercial spaces that are going up, and we're on the 6th floor, and the floor beneath us, there is this. They were probably at 98% finish, and like now they're putting on the final touches, touch-ups, paint, this, that, and the other thing. Drywaller was wanting to speed up a patch, and so he has his heat gun right next to, has it heating up and drying out the patch, but I guess he just didn't realize how close he was to a sprinkler head, and next thing you know, fire alarm goes off, and all you see is this black water just spray out all over the place.
Oh my!
And it was basically, this water was flooding out so fast that it basically leaked down all the way down to the basement, and it ended up ruining 2 or 3 floors.
Oh no!
That were already finished. Occupants are in there. This place is rocking, and it ended up flooding out. Not flooding out. It ended up like basically like doing like ceiling damage. They had replaced fixtures and things like that. But I mean, you're talking about architectural style fixtures. I mean, where each one of these things, they're like $350, $400 a pop, and never mind patching and painting and everything else like that. Floor finishes, wall finishes. So it was it was an eventful day, needless to say. It was, but man, water just is the worst.
It really is. Be careful.
Yeah.
The veto pack. That's your jam. You got a jam packed with a bunch of stuff, don't you?
Oh yeah, man. I tell you, man, the veto. It's. I know everyone. I remember when I first got on to social media, I never knew what a veto bag was, and then all these people just talking about it. I remember I looked it up, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a backpack.
Yeah.
Like, you say to yourself, I'm like, damn, it's a backpack. Like how good could a backpack be? But honestly, it's after getting one, and that was the biggest problem, because like I primarily do a lot of commercial work, and I'm always constantly walking, like through Boston, or we do a lot of work for Harvard University as well. So it's just you're constantly parking and walking with all your tools and things like that, and I've run through my fair share of bags. I've tried them all. Like I've tried like the AWPs. I've tried Vitos. Not Vitos, Kleins and Milwaukee's, and all this stuff like that. And they'll hold up for the most part, but longevity wise, they just do not. They can't just hold up. But when you see the Vito and as soon as like if you ever buy one, you see it immediately, the difference in the quality, and it really justifies the price tag.
Yep. They are. I don't have one, but I would like one. So Vito, you can send one to me, and I'll take a picture of it.
Yeah, you know what? I actually had that for like my 3,500 giveaway. When I hit like 3,500
Oh yeah.
followers,
Oh,
I
for real?
actually gave
Okay.
away a Vito Tech Pack.
Oh
Yeah.
really? Oh
So
wow.
I actually, yeah, I gave away a Vito Tech Pack with Weha screwdrivers,
Cool,
and
man.
yeah, so I actually have my 5K. I just hit 5K the other day, so I actually have a big giveaway that's being put together right now. So there will be some Vito in there. There'll be some Weha, some
Cool.
stuff from like World of Electricians and a lot of other trades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be a
So
nice big giveaway.
how long have you been on Instagram?
You know what's funny? I actually hit like my 2-year anniversary like a couple of weeks ago, I want to say, because
Cool.
it came up as a notification saying like, oh yeah, I'll look back on this day, and it was like my first post that I ever had on Instagram, and yeah, I haven't gone like 2 years, but I wouldn't say I wasn't really that active on it for the first year, and
Sure.
it wasn't just until this year where I really started to really start putting a lot of stuff out there, a lot of content, and it not like my page has really taken a much different direction since then.
Sure.
If you look at like my first post to where they are now, it's something completely different, and it kind of shows the growth that I've had through social media as well.
That's interesting. What's a good technique or strategy you can give the listeners on how to grow their following?
Oh, I mean, like it's the big thing is, I mean, you just got to know like what your place is. I mean, well, what are you trying to do? I mean,
Yeah.
and it's there's guys who they want to be the tool reviewers and
Sure.
they want to just swap tools and showcase tools and things like that. And which, yeah, I mean that's fine and everything, but I mean, it's you know, or if you want to be somebody who showcases great work, or if you want to be somebody who showcases hacks, there's you just got to know what it is you want to try and do, and then most importantly is engaging with your followers and listening to feedback and learning and changing things as such. Like I remember when I first started out my page, it was really just showcasing a lot, but then it wasn't until I started getting a lot of questions from apprentices, and they would tell me that and how like their journeymen weren't teaching them, their bosses weren't teaching them. All they're doing is just slinging wire, and they're like second or third year guys, and they don't know how to wire a switch. You know, and then that's where I kind of started reflecting at myself and basically like, you know what, maybe I can help bridge this gap and start helping these kids not be installers anymore, but to start creating and nurturing electricians. And now you're creating and you're making this industry better. And that's one thing I always ask people when they ask, oh, they build a following. Man, I'm like, you know what? It's my following in comparison to a lot of other pages is not a big following. I mean, I only have 5,000. There's pages that they have 10, 15, 90,000, 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
And it's great and everything, but I mean, where are you? Like, what's your part in bettering this community?
Interesting. Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing in helping and educate and basically create a better community, basically build this trade up and where you have qualified, smart kids or smart and also better journeymen, better bosses and things like that. I think that to me is more important than a lot of these numbers.
Yeah.
Guys, and that's the thing. And that's another thing too. It's like, there's so many of these pages that, I mean, obviously everyone knows you can buy followers and things like that. And there's all these bots and stuff like that. And this thing is, people get so caught up in numbers, and I just don't do that. I mean, I'm just not about that. I'd rather build up and interact with every. If I have to fight for one follower or freaking whatever, I mean, the people who follow me, not for nothing, are people who really want to learn something.
Yep.
And that's one thing, and it shows in my posts. It shows in the consistency of it, and it shows in the messages that I get, that it's people who want to dig into the code book and learn the articles and learn what the exceptions are, and who just want to be more than just somebody who is told what to do. They want to be something better than that. And so, I think that's where I pride myself on. That really is the people that do follow me are really. I have like the loyalty as well as the interactions that I have with all of them, and it's really awesome. It's something that is really taking on a whole new meaning, especially when you think about social media, and it's just strange. It's people you've never met in your entire life. But I tell you one thing, they're people. There's people who won't find any more support than a total stranger from across the world.
Yeah. Gosh,
and
yeah,
that's a great thing
Kyle.
to do.
Yeah, man. Like I'm getting like warm and fuzzies again, listening to you talk because I mean this is exactly why I do this. This is why I walk in the rain to race home to get on a podcast and talk to people. I got rained on walking over from the gym and just to hear you talk about what you're trying to accomplish and how you find fulfillment in helping others is just like that's just spot on with what I want to do on this platform.
Right.
Yeah.
And I tell you, man, it's we need more people like it. And the thing is that it's when you think about a lot of these larger pages, man, it's a lot of it. They come a dime a dozen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like you look up 2 review pages. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
They were like I said, there were a dime a dozen and things like that. And the other thing is too, and it's something that's talked a lot amongst a lot of the trade guys is that you see a lot of these tool review pages. They're not even guys in the trade. They're not even guys who put the tools to practice. Here they are with like these big industrial sized tools and like awesome tools and like literally like they're putting on like a 1/2 inch pro press. I'm like, dude, I want to see this thing be maxed out. Put it on a 4-inch piece of pipe or whatever, and compress the shit out of it. It's all like, or like whatever. It's like, or it's like all like these industrial style tools, and that's just the thing. It's like, and this is something like that I take up with a lot of, and I think a lot of the tool companies are now starting to, because obviously the tool companies are now starting to realize that okay, through social media, there's a big market in here. Right. A lot of companies are now creating influencer programs, and where basically they look at your numbers and things like that, and then you get somebody that reaches out to you and things like that, and then obviously they want you to use their product, and obviously it's advertising, it's a business, but I feel that they're starting to shy away from the guys who are just regular like hairy homeowners that like to tinker and like to do stuff like in like their backyard versus the guys who are working 7 days a week like myself, freaking doing 15, 16-hour days, grinding it out. They work hard for their money and they only invest into tools that they know are going to laugh and they're going to take the beating. They're not going to invest into trash. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing is you have a lot of these guys just because they're being paid to promote absolutely garbage tools.
Right.
But then you have guys who don't know any better and we're like, well, this guy's a tool reviewer. He's not going to lie to me. Then you go out and buy it and then you're sadly disappointed. And that's just what it is. And it's like, and that's like same thing. Like for me, it's like whatever tools that I do post on my page or whatever things I do, it's stuff that works. It's stuff that I believe in, and not only that, it's good value. Like it's a tool that it's like, you know what, like it may be expensive up front, but you just understand that it's going to make you money after X amount of jobs and things like that. It's I think that's the honesty that a lot of these tool companies need to start really looking into. And that's just how I feel about it. But yeah, I mean,
it's why I put that in the segment because I want to hear what people are using, the tools they're using, like people like you that are actually like grinding it out, like you said. And I want to know what they're using because I learn and the audience gets to learn, and I'm not getting money from it. I'm not like trying to like, be an influencer. No. People try to send me stuff, and I'll like take a look at it, but it's not my game really. I want to know exactly what's going on in the field. That's the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. like I said, man, I mean, like when it comes to like a lot of my like me and a lot of my buddies. I mean, there's also like the Milwaukee versus DeWalt, or
Yeah.
like and all that stuff like that. That's like the big one. And me and my buddies, we always go back and forth. Like honestly, I consider myself Team DeWalt because I mean it's all that I've ever invested into. And the reason is that when I first started off in this trade, the only few companies that were out there doing cordless at the time were DeWalt, Makita, and Hitachi. Those were the three companies that are in my area growing up in Boston that had like cordless setups, like cordless drills, sawzalls, steel saws, things like that. And it was just what I've always invested my money into at the time. So I just had so many tools that were involved in that. Naturally, I just stayed with them, But and then like I had like my friends that had like Milwaukee, and I tell you, Milwaukee's great too. I mean, like their 12-volt platform.
I love it.
You can't mess with that. I mean, you just can't. They have a tool for everything, and it's really awesome. But do I notice for what it is that I do from day to day? I do more commercial industrial. I feel personally that the DeWalt is more designed for the work that I do. Versus, and like for instance, like their bands, like the big difference is like their M12 bandsaw versus the DeWalt smaller compact 20-volt bandsaw. It's I have like buddies that have theirs, and like we'll put them up against each other, and like there's just times that like that tool will just blow it away. But the other thing too, it's like Milwaukee's definitely coming up with all of their new style M12 stuff, like their compact, the surges, and all stuff like that. The way I would tell people, I'm like, listen, if it makes you money, it's great. And I'm not here to sit there and cram DeWalt down someone's throat or cram Milwaukee or Makita. Listen, if it makes you money and you're comfortable with using it, then have at it, man. It doesn't matter. There's not one that's better than the other. I feel personally, you got to go with what works for you. Hand tools, stuff like that. I used to be a huge Klein guy until like Klein went through a little stint where I just felt they started cheaping out on their metals, and I don't know. I'll be turning a screwdriver, and the screwdriver tip will just snap right off.
Yep.
And I would snap, and the screwdriver would break probably 5 times in a month. And finally, I got tired of it, and then I did my research, and I started discovering about the German-made tools, the Wehas, the Weras, and things like that. And now I'm a German guy. Like their tools are just superior. I mean, and that's the thing is, like I beat the hell out of my tools. Like I am not ginger about my stuff. And the way I would look at it, they're tools. They're not there to be babies. They're there to freaking make you money.
Exactly.
And they're made to get a beating put on them. And that's one thing I've always said. I'm like, listen, if a tool can survive me, then it's a tool worth buying. Yeah. Because like I'm just like I am not nice with my tools. Maybe I'll clean them up once in a while just because they're getting so grimy looking, but for the most part, man, it's when it comes to hand tools, I beat them up. I mean, it's because I work every day. I work those 15-hour days, and I work 7 days a week. And there's you just got to do what you got to do with those things, and so it's what it is.
We talked about advice and diversifying your skill set. That was what you mentioned in the pregame. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, learn as much as you can. That's the best advice you can give.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, you know what? Is this? I actually have something else to add into that. Number one is exactly that. Just don't be content with being a one-trick pony. There's. I'll never forget when I first started into my apprenticeship. I was methodical. I would get into a company, and I would look at everyone around me, everyone that I worked with. I would look and find out what their weakness was, whether it be bending pipe, whether it be fire alarm, whether it be data, whether it be this or that, and I would make that my strength. And I would just go home and practice, and like I would take home scrap pipe, and I would take home like scrap pieces of pipe and just bang. And just try and learn this and try and learn that, just so that if I got thrown onto something, I wasn't like a deer in headlights. I knew enough to get me through it, And I'll never forget, and it was funny because since you're a low voltage guy, when I first started out, low voltage was like it was a whole different animal in the sense that electricians, they would run the cables, they would never do terminations. Like punching down and doing anything else like that or testing, it was like no, freaking it's just like they did not even want to even learn about it. They're like, nope, you're speaking Chinese to me now, and I'm just like, and I'll never forget. I was on this rate job, and my boss had me slinging the cable. So we basically ran all the cabling for this guy, and we used to sub out all the terminations. And this guy came in, so one time he needed help because it was a huge job, and my boss was like, hey, go work with him and just help him wrap up this job. So the guy showed me how to make up like a keystone jack and punch down and do the testing. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, this is it? Like, we pay you all this money to do this? and I'll never forget it. And I'll never forget with the money I made at that rate job, I went out and I bought all the tools. Like, I remember I took my whole paycheck. I took my whole paycheck and I was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that week, but I took that I took that whole paycheck and I bought the tools and I bought the test equipment.
Yep.
And I went up to my boss and I was like, stop subbing out the work. Let's keep the work in the company and just have me on it. But I did that knowing that all the jobs that we had where we did that were rate jobs. So I knew I was guaranteeing myself more money in the future. And it was going to basically be a return on my investment. And that's the kind of thinking that you need to have.
Wow.
You need to understand that by you investing, and the more hats you wear, the more valuable you are. Because anybody can be a sling. Anybody can sling wire. I mean, there's companies that are hiring laborers off the street or going to like labor companies, and they're just essentially getting bodies and be like, hey, listen, I need you to run wire from point A to point B.
Right.
And that's all they'll do. I know kids that are in their third and fourth year of in electrical, and all they have ever done is sling wire. Ask them to wire a switch, and they'll look at you like you have 10 heads. and that's what I'm saying about, and how a lot of companies are training kids to be installers and not electricians anymore. Yep. But the other thing is, and that's the reason why, like, I try and preach a way of thinking. I did that. I basically tell kids, I'm like, listen, your best bet, like, if you're driving in the car, if you say you're working for a company and you're driving with your foreman in the morning, rather than sit there and yeah, you can say hi, good morning, how was your weekend, stuff like that. As soon as that's all going, right? Instead of being on your phone, ask your foreman, oh, so what are we doing when we get there? Have him tell you, right? And then ask him questions like, oh, are we going to need this? And then start going through the tool list. And then also, as you're going through the tool list, start going through the stock list in your head. So as soon as that truck stops, you're hopping out the truck, you're getting the tools, you're getting the stock that you need to get that job done for the day.
Boom. I like it.
And that was like my biggest thing that I prided myself on when I first started off in this trade, was that if I only had to make one trip out to the truck, I was like, I had a great day.
Yes. I love that.
Had to make more, if I made more than one trip, I was pissed at myself. I'm like, oh my God, you're better than that. Like, and that's just what it is.
So inefficient.
Exactly. And that's just what it is that you got to set up your job site for success. You got to make sure that, but not only that, it helps you in so many other different levels, because the thing is that when you're starting out and you're learning what it takes for stock, when you start going out on your own, you start doing side jobs and things like that, you know exactly what you need. You know what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, it's only preparing you for the future, because ultimately, in the end, if you don't there's people who, you know what, they're okay like that. They want to work the 40 hours, come in, punch out, and they're content with that in life.
Right.
But then there's more, and then there's those people that they want more. They want their own company. They want to have somebody wearing their shirt with their name on their back, or drive around with the truck with their name on it. You know what I'm saying? And for those kids that have that mentality, that have that dream, You got to put in that work.
Yep.
And that's just what it is. It's like you have to be different. You have to work harder. You have to outwork everybody. If you're, and that's another thing. It's like if you're sick or whatever, dude. I remember being sick. I would just chug some Dayquil, throw on my hoodie, put my earphones in, and just work. I would just sweat that out because I never understood being at home and being sick.
It makes it
and
work.
Like you're just miserable.
It makes it work.
I would just sweat it out. Like and that's the thing is like people I just feel like they're like, oh, like my stomach hurts. And I'm like, no, just get up. Just getting in your house is gonna be worse. Just get up and move, man. Like and I'll never forget that. And but like I said, I mean, don't stop being more than like the only limit you can put is the limit you put on yourself.
Yep.
And just keep on learning, keep on and honestly, just never be afraid to try something new, even though it's something you've never seen. I've always preached, another thing I've always preached is a system of operations, understanding the way how something works. If you can understand the way how something works, and it will troubleshoot itself, and I promise you that. And I go through a lot of. I actually just did a recent IGTV video showcasing about time clock controlled lighting loads with a photocell, and people think like, oh, what's that? But as soon as you it's like to them, it's like it gets tough sometimes because like you're talking about a switch on top of a switch on top of a switch.
Yeah. And
that's what I tell people. I'm like, listen, they're sitting with fire alarm. People are like, oh man, fire alarm, it's just crazy. It's really not. Fire alarm is switches. You got to think of it like this. You have two wires that run out there. What creates your fire alarm trigger is a switch. As soon as it senses heat, it senses smoke, this all it does is make a short, and that's it. That's your system. You know what I'm saying? And it's the simplifying of complex systems is what makes and if you can simplify things in your head, all of a sudden it takes away it being something that's overwhelming.
Kyle,
and that's the big thing.
I think you're on like a different level than most people. It's like it's so cool listening to you talk about all these things, but some people just like they just want to like do that 40 hours clock in clock out, but there are those people, those small percentage like you that want to get out there and hustle and learn a lot. And this has been great advice for those folks, especially that want to get after it on a daily basis and build something a little bit bigger than them and do above and beyond the Call of Duty. So
yeah,
let's wrap it up, and because we're kind of at time right now, and but I want to see where we can find your stuff. I know you got some initiatives going on, but what's the best place to find you on the internet with what you're doing?
As of right now, I have my webpage under development right now, and I also, which is I also have the TFI initiative that's going to be released to all that stuff's under development, and where it's going to be releasing a lot of like the IGTV videos in regards to that, kind of like something similar to what I have on Instagram right now. For the most part, like I said, Instagram, Figueroa Electrical, check me out.
Yep.
And like I said, it's anybody that's out there, they have questions or anything in regards to that, just shoot me a message, shoot me a DM, and I'll definitely try my best and help you guys out. And like I said, we're all in this together. And actually, it's funny, the people that recommended me on that post, I remember that is Kango Media. And Kango Media, right. Yes, Kango Media was a key. And I tell you, some of the most incredible people I ever met in my entire life. And there are a lot of they're actually a huge driving force in really behind me. They're somebody in Freddie and Ada. They've really helped, and like kind of like I don't think they even know the impact they made on my life. With I remember speaking with Ada, and she kind of came up and she told me, she's like something they believe in, which is something that I believe in as soon as I heard it, and it's something that I preach all the time, is community over competition. And that's a hashtag I use a lot. community
Nice.
over competition, and that's something that I'd rather help somebody out than try to be against you in the ring. I'd rather all of us grow together. I'd rather have all of us freaking make. I want to see everyone succeed. I want to see everyone get their house and support their family and have that boat, have that bike, or have a ranch and with some animals on it, whatever floats your boat, well, whatever makes you happy. I want to see you have that ability to basically make that in your life. And that, as soon as Ada and Freddie kind of told me about that, it's something, it really changed who I am as a person. And I think if a lot of people start thinking about helping out the community and helping out others, it really helps everything fall into place. So community over competition, Tango Media, I thank you. I mean, they're like I said, I mean, even them bringing me to you is everything's a blessing from them, and I truly appreciate them.
Yeah, Kango Media. I've watched some of their videos and kind of following their stuff on Instagram. I really dig the vibe, and you talking so highly about them. I'm going to reach out to them and see if they want to maybe get on a show or kind of have a chat.
Yeah, I tell you,
I dig it.
They're brilliant in their field. I mean, they're actually the ones who are actually making my webpage, and I tell you, it's working with them is just something that's incredible. I mean, cool. Like I said, I mean, they're definitely worth checking out.
Community over competition is the hashtag. I'm gonna add that to my hashtag list. I like that. I like that a lot, man. Hey, Kyle, man, this has been so great. I'm so glad that I reached out to you and got you on the show, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and talk some shop. Man. Yeah, it's been fun, man. Like inspiring and fun too, man. So I hope you had a good time. And
I did, man. It was awesome, man. I thank you. I really appreciate it myself, man.
So cool, man. All right, I'll talk to you soon, man. Take care.
All right, brother. Be safe.
Yeah.